commencing our meeting at 6:30. This meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Wadawurrung people. We wish to acknowledge them as the traditional custodians and pay our respect to their elders past and present. We extend that respect to all members of our community. All councillors are present, all officers are present, so no apologies. Councillors, do you have any conflict of interest disclosures?
No.
Thank you. Officers? Thank you. We have no leave of absence of a councillor. There are no public questions outstanding. And we'll move now to 5.2, our public questions. There are 9 public questions tonight. The first one is from Leonie Swift. Is Leonie present? Thank you, Leonie.
Hello. My question relates to the borough's current survey regarding the creation of a dedicated, accessible off-leash dog area. On the borough's website, the project background for the survey states that a petition signed by 517 people highlighted that the existing off-leash beach area is not suitable for many residents due to accessibility challenges and exposure to natural winds, elements such as winds and tides. Those who signed the petition requested that the Royal Park Oval in Point Lonsdale be considered for an off-leash dog trial when it is not in use for organised sporting activities. My question is, why was Royal Park Oval not listed as an option in the survey, given the clear support in the community for this option in the petition, and the fact that the borough is spending more than $100,000 on new fencing at the Royal Park Oval?
Thank you, Leonie. Could I call on the Manager for Community and Regulatory Services to answer your question? Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Leonie, for your question. Council acknowledges the petition and the community's interest in Royal Park Oval as a potential off-leash dog area. However, the primary use of the oval as a sporting ground which makes it unsuitable for a dedicated off-leash dog area, even when not in use for organised sport. This is due to the need to maintain a playing service and ensure safety and accessibility for all users. The current survey aims to identify locations that are more appropriate and sustainable for this purpose, while still responding to the accessibility concerns raised in this petition.
Thank you, Tim. Public question number 2 is from Janice Mackey. Is Janice present? Sorry? Would you like to ask your question, Janice?
I think, Mayor, that you've already read my question, because you've charted the lecterns over here now, so that the speakers are facing us and we're facing you.
Thank you. Thank you, Janice. Public question number 3 is from Carmen Bell. Carmen?
Now, would you please read it?
Thank you. There is a long-standing agreement that C planning scheme amendments applicable to Queenscliff will be listed on the planning report of ordinary council meetings before and until they're gazetted. This stems from a time when our own strategic planners initiated them. In recent times, a plethora of VC planning scheme amendments, which apply to all planning schemes in Victoria, has come off the desk of the Minister for Planning. They are impactful. They have been drafted in a hurry and seem to require frequent corrections. Will Council continue to add these VC planning scheme amendments with a brief explanation on the monthly Council planning report from now on? And I call on Tim Crawford, Manager for Community and Regulatory Services.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your question, Carmen. So the Victoria Planning Provisions, VPP, are constantly being reviewed and updated at a state level with numerous amendments occurring each year, many of which do not have relevance to the Borough of Queenscliff. However, a brief explanation of any state and local amendments with impact on the operation of the Queenscliff planning scheme will continue to be provided in the planning report presented at each council meeting. More information will be provided on VC 288, and that relates to two-lot development and the two-lot subdivision. More information will be provided on that amendment for the community in next month's council report.
Thank you very much, Tim. Public question number 4 is from Gail McNulty. Is Gail present this evening? Gail, would you like to ask a question? Thank you. Regarding the dog off-leash survey, please confirm that if this park goes ahead, that the Narrows Dog Beach will remain available at all times as it currently is. Sorry, Tim. You...
Plan ahead, look to the next question. Thank you for your question, Gail. So Council has no plans to discontinue Narrows Dog Beach as an off-leash area. The current survey is intended to gather community feedback on a potential additional off-leash site within the borough.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Tim. Public question number 5 is from Kate Smallwood. Is Kate present?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Kate.
My preamble and question relate to the release of community engagement data and the community vision. 2 months after adopting a community vision, Council has still not released all the engagement results. No results have been provided for the open houses, event details, participant numbers, feedback received, or the written submissions. How many? From whom? A summary of the feedback. Only partial results have been provided for the online survey. Responses have not been provided for all questions, and no data has been provided for comments made. Failure to disclose community engagement results is contrary to public transparency requirements under the Local Government Act and Council's own public transparency policy. Intended to ensure the transparency of Council decisions, actions and information, these requirements have not been met. Council has also not met deliberative engagement standards or its own community engagement policy requirement to report on the results of individual consultation activities as part of a community engagement process. In fact, no concrete engagement data has been provided by Council to justify Council's wholesale rewrite of our community vision. The released survey results which Council has provided actually confirm that the majority of respondents support the original vision. So my question to Council's failure to transparently share all the vision engagement results fails to pass the pub test or meet the requirements of the Local Government Act and Council's own policies. Our community is left wondering if Council has something to hide, in particular that the outstanding engagement results also demonstrate, like the online survey, that a majority of respondents supported the original vision. So my question to Council is straightforward. Will Council commit to releasing the outstanding engagement results for the community vision?
Thank you, Kate, for your question and for making it so clear. I'll speak to the councillors about your request and we'll determine what will come as a result of those open house meetings and written responses.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. Moving to public question number 6 from Lou Stewart. Lou, would you like to read your question?
And great start, Kate. Thank you. Noting strong community support for maintaining reference to mitigating the effects of climate change in the community vision, the BoQ Community Group Award to QCAN, and Council's recent support for the SERP. Why was reference to climate change removed from the revised council/community vision? Because to my mind, it's not reflecting what the council wants.
Thank you, Lou, for your question. And please be assured, just because the words aren't actually there, it doesn't mean that managing climate impacts is not part of our business as usual. In fact, we will be following all state and federal legislation naturally regarding climate impacts. It's our operational responsibility and it's part of the work we do managing infrastructure, vegetation, risk, and more broadly, our local environment. The new council plan, please have a look at it.
I have.
Also makes reference and uses the actual words climate change, and you'll see there the actions that have been developed around that. Thank you, Lou.
My comment is that the
That's
vision...
a question. If you've got a question, that's fine.
Okay, well, the community vision is the foundation document for council, from which the plan, the budget, the other matters fall from that.
It's
And
also
it has
the
to be
council
in the
plan.
words.
Is there a question? Sorry?
It is the community vision, the so-called community vision, is not reflecting what the community
Is that
thinks.
a question? Sorry.
Why doesn't it reflect what the community thinks?
Yes.
Well, their thought is that it does.
It doesn't.
No calling out from the audience, please, or you will be asked to leave. We know the rules and you all are usually very good at respecting those. Thank you. Moving to question 7, which is a question from Lynn Walker. Lynn, would you like to ask your question?
Could you read it, please, and properly?
Okay. When reading reports relevant to the meeting, it was pleasing to note the council has acknowledged the need to make improvements to current community engagement processes being adopted across the borough. As you'll be aware, there are a number of councils across the country who are seen as exemplars in this domain, and it would appear that an opportunity exists for the Borough of Queenscliff to join the ranks of those who are displaying leadership in this arena. It was also pleasing to note the council carries a financial surplus, which could be drawn on to strengthen this work, a step which would undoubtedly be supported by many community members. Will the council take advantage of the opportunity that exists by working with community members to undertake a formal, in-depth and transparent review of current community engagement processes to inform development of a comprehensive system, including policies, procedures and processes to inform future engagement activity? And firstly, Lynn, thank you for your question. And I agree, there are many councils throughout the state who do it a lot better than we do, and I hope that we will be able to follow some of their practices in the future. So the answer to your question is yes, we will. And in fact, the council plan refers or makes specific mention of this. It says it has 2 guiding principles: inclusive engagement and continuous improvement of that engagement. And that will be, sorry, my speaker keeps coming and going, that will be followed. So personally, I'm not a fan of surveys, and particularly of the constraints of SurveyMonkey. and I hope that in the future we can use far better means of engagement. Yes?
So the question was actually about whether you would have to do a review to actually examine what's currently taking place, excuse me, with a view to then adopting a whole systems approach.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You've asked current community engagement processes. Yes, they will be considered, and if you look at the council plan, there's allowance for that to happen.
So a formal review.
So I've agreed that what you're suggesting is true, and I've said that we will be considering ways of improving it.
Thank you.
Public question number 8 is from Elizabeth Atkinson. Is Elizabeth present?
I am, but if you could please read it, Mayor.
Council has proposed 3 sites as off-leash dog areas, none of which is suitable for people who are elderly, do not drive, are sick, have a disability, have had surgery such as knee and hip replacements. The borough needs to provide 2 flat fenced off and secure off-leash areas, one in Queenscliff and one in Point Lonsdale. Council's 3 options are neither inclusive nor assisting the target population's physical and mental well-being. Council's current off-leash policy discriminates against anyone who is ageing or who has a disability, whether permanent or temporary. It would have been open, honest and respectful had the CEO's letter to Jan Mackie and me told us that Royal Park Oval would not be considered and provided us and the Small Dogs Group reasons for not including Royal Park Oval in the proposed survey. The question is Council prepared to be inclusive of people who have a disability, who are elderly or infirm? Infirm, sorry.
We're all informed.
The next one says trail, so I was busy correcting that in my mind. Any decision to trial an additional off-lease area will take those matters into account. Please note that one of the options, the Swan Bay Yacht Club, is a flat area that is as easily accessed as the Oval is. There are reasons, as you've heard tonight, why the Royal Park Oval is not under consideration. And I'm just going to ask Tim Crawford to come up again, please, and explain what an off-leash area means.
Thank you, Mayor. So what we are proposing to do and asking the community about is off-leash sites which are not dog parks. So we're not proposing any site that has fencing, secure fencing, like you might see in a dog park. We're mindful of trying to look at what our existing green spaces are and look at options of what's currently available that could be used for for some dual use things. So that's where we landed at with those 3 things, just to be clear. So it's not, we never proposed to do a dog park with secure fencing. That was not an option we presented.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Mayor.
Public question number 9 is from the Queenscliff Community Association. The 10-year draft financial plan released this month shows Council roughly breaking even on a recurring basis for the next 10 years, with a significantly unchanged staffing figure in excess of 43 full-time employees. Employee costs and materials and services costs are both predicted or planned to each increase $1 million over that 10-year period. The current budget set aside $40,000 for an organisational review that was designed to undertake significant review measures to seek organisational efficiencies and generate surplus income. Based on these figures, is the current organisational review being conducted by council and officers destined to fail to achieve any effective or real savings in the council organisation, or has the review, now a few months in, identified opportunities for potential organisational savings? And I will tell you that the review has not yet commenced. We've been waiting to get our budgets sorted before we commence that. Yes, David?
Can you do the 10-year plan without?
We can. Thank you. Now moving to item 6.
I had a question that was sent in this afternoon.
Oh, I'm
received
sorry.
a confirmation.
I'm sorry, are you Felicity?
I am.
Felicity, I'm sorry, your question has been ruled out. It doesn't meet the requirements. And I've forgotten where they were.
On what grounds?
Yep, I'll tell you. I'm sorry, I thought that you would have been emailed. The questions have been disallowed on the basis of offensive language and aiming to embarrass a councillor or a member of council staff. Moving now to item 6, the confirmation of minutes of previous meetings. 6.1 is the ordinary council meeting on the 27th of August 2025. Do I have a mover for the recommendation that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting on the 27th of August 2025 as distributed be confirmed as an accurate record? Thank you, Councillor Monaghan. Do I have a seconder? Yes. Thank you, Councillor Cameron. 6.2, the ordinary council meeting. Sorry. Oh, yeah. All those in favour? Sorry. Thank you. Unanimous. 6.2, the ordinary council meeting on the 27th of August 2025, confidential minutes. Do I have a mover for the recommendation that the confidential minutes of the ordinary meeting of council on the 27th of August 2025 as distributed be confirmed as an accurate record? Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Do I have a seconder?
Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Grigau. All those in favour?
Yep.
Thank you. Unanimous. 6.3, the special council meeting on the 15th of September 2025. Do I have a mover for the recommendation that the minutes of the special council meeting on the 15th of September 2025 as distributed be confirmed as an accurate record? Do I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Monaghan. All those in favour?
Thank you.
Thank you. Unanimous. Item 7, which details the record of informal meetings of councillors. Do I have a mover for the recommendation that the record of informal meetings of councillors as presented in adjunct to item 7 be noted?
Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Grigau. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Monaghan. All those in favour? Thank you. Unanimous. Item 8, 8.1, notice of motion status update. There are no notices of motion outstanding. 8.2, motion on notice. No notices of motion have been received. Item 9, petitions and joint letters. This is in regard to our response to the petition regarding our community vision tabled at our last ordinary council meeting on the 27th of August 2025. Please note that for this part of our meeting, we're now stepping outside our governance rules. I hope you're all satisfied with that we are separating ourselves from the governance rules. As explained in the agenda, Greg Crowe did not speak at the meeting at which his petition was tabled. This was due to an administrative error made by the CEO. 100.3 for those interested. For this meeting tonight, Greg Crowe should have written to me requesting an opportunity to speak at this meeting. 103.2. He did not. The CEO should then have written to Greg Crowe extending an invitation from me, 103.4. He did not. I was unaware of the arrangement made between the CEO and Greg Crowe. However, I will allow Reverend Crowe to speak for 3 minutes tonight, followed by questions from councillors. Please note Reverend Crowe's accompanying letter that requested people sign this petition contained misleading and inaccurate information. He claimed a breach of appropriate legal procedures according to the Local Government Act of 2020. As is explained in the agenda, this is wrong. Reverend Crowe, you now have the floor for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate the opportunity to address this petition on behalf of nearly 600 borough residents, ratepayers and people who work and live and play in the borough. But I firstly, though, wish to begin by expressing a public apology for the ambiguity of my public letter dated on the 12th of August, which suggested that the process of bringing the notice motion had been a breach of the Government Act. I'm sorry for that ambiguity, and I'm sorry for any misrepresentation to any individual councillor. I never intended to disrespect any individual person in that letter. I could have done better. The petition was never intended to be a criticism of individual councillors, but a holding to account of a governance process of this community review. And I should have been much clearer and focused on section 55 and 88 of the Local Government Act. I wish to say also that I regard you all with goodwill, and I'm really sorry about the disconnect that has been present. It doesn't feel right to me, and it doesn't reflect who I am. I'm sorry there is an uncomfortable vibe at present, and for my part in perpetuating that, I'm very sorry. Councillors have recognised in its response in the agenda that the engagement process could have been handled better, and I appreciate that acknowledgement. I do believe that the council did not follow its own community engagement policy, and I do think that was a failure of governance. And I still believe council could, with good intention, reconsider its recently adopted community vision and give greater consideration to deliberating more with the community around its pillars. This is what the petition calls for. It's what the community engagement policy calls for, and it's what good governance requires. I just want to make 2 really quick observations. Many of us in the community felt anxious at the beginning of this new term. There were 2 areas of focus we were concerned that might be targeted for change or withdrawal. And at the start of the year, when the RAP was put on hold, at a meeting that realised our anxiety. At a meeting with over 100 people in the gallery, the majority of councillors gave verbal acknowledgement of their support for reconciliation and working with Wadawurrung on cultural heritage matters, and yet those words have been removed from the pillars. The exclusion of protecting and celebrating Aboriginal heritage of the borough has come without any quantitative or evidential data. And on the contrary, over 60% of eligible voters in the borough said yes in 2023. There's no material evidence to review the data to justify the removal of Indigenous cultural heritage from the pillars. Secondly, climate mitigation and protection of vulnerable, fragile ecosystems and biodiversity was another concern we felt was going to be targeted in the new term. And again at the August Council meeting, majority of councillors wore red and gave verbal or symbolic expression to the air alignment and support of QCAN, which had worked alongside the council to preserve our environment and mitigate against climate change locally. But again, in the July meeting, council voted to edit that pillar and protecting our country and natural environment. The concern of our community groups and organisations and many volunteers who have supported this petition is that, unfortunately, one thing gets said by words, but the opposite seems to happen with actions in the decisions. This has caused an exasperation and deep grief in our community about a loss of diversity that was present in the original vision, that was hard worked for and has benefited the community over previous years.
Reverend Crowe, could you wind up, please?
I will. I was expecting 5. I appreciate what you've said, but if I could, I'll try my best.
I've now given you 4. So.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you. We don't see ourselves in the vision. Let me conclude by just giving brief attention to the first pillar of the community vision, the new vision. Community leadership, accountable, upholding good governance, transparency and responsible, placing the needs of the community first. As I said in my letter in August to you, bad processes can lead to good people making bad decisions. And this was a failure of our own council policy procedures and decision making around it. And sometimes strong and wise community leadership can be about recognising where we may have got it wrong and having the courage to have a second look and say we can do it better now, not just addressed in a council plan over the next 4 years. The policy already exists and could be followed now. I just want to acknowledge the amazing volunteers and community organisations that share the values that we want to uphold and continue to see expressed in this vision and named in words in its pillars. And we do aspire...
Thank you, Reverend Crowe. That's more than your time. And in fact, it's the 5 minutes.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I note that you made reference to numbers of the petition. Could I also point out that our governance rules do not actually allow for extra signatories after a petition has been tabled? It's become apparently a practice, but it is not always a practice that is followed. So that's worth remembering too. Do councillors have any questions of clarification to Reverend Crowe?
Yes, thank you.
Councillor Gregoire, would you like
to return to the...
Just asking, with your widely distributed email on the thereabouts 13th of August, did you seek the Uniting Church's approval to use their database for this letter?
Yes.
Did you? Which other databases do you use, and who approved them?
So we have a community database of email addresses, and it was approved to use that to contact and invite people in the community to participate in the petition.
Right. Just another question. So did the church actually, the Uniting Church actually approve your petition letter on their letterhead?
The Uniting Church, and I can...
No comments from the audience.
Sorry,
Thank you. That is not allowed.
So,
I didn't see who it was, but if you're mentioned again, you're to be removed.
Thank you. Sorry. Absolutely. I speak and stand here, and the petition was written and supported 100% by the Uniting Church Queenscliff and Point Lonsdale Church Council. So I have the full support of my faith community alongside the other members of the
Parish
community.
council?
We don't have a parish council. We have a church council in the Uniting Church,
Same
which operates as the parish council. Yeah.
And what advice did you rely on when claiming councillors broke the law?
It was, as I said in my comments tonight, it was I failed to focus particularly on those 2 points, point 55 and 88. It was those 2 points that I believed had breached the Local Government Act. But again, I do sincerely apologise to the council and to any individual councillor who feels that I have misrepresented them. Having been on the end of being misrepresented myself, I know how that feels, and I am sorry for that. So I extend my apologies to the council for that.
Does any other councillor have any questions? Councillor Grigard, have you?
No, but on the 13th, your widely circulated letter supporting the petition, you claimed that that 3 councillors who voted for the new vision actually breached the Local Government Act. That's not exactly easy thing, and acted contemptuously towards community feedback, ignored responses they disagreed with, breached local government powers and governance responsibilities, showed bias influencing council decisions. These were stated as facts, not opinions. By invoking the Uniting Church, you implied that council staff also facilitated in these breaches. Now, you fully retract those statements in your preamble?
I don't fully retract all of those statements, no, because I think there was a lot of, in that first letter that went to the community, there were facts that I don't believe I misrepresented, but I'm sorry if people felt misrepresented.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? That being the case, I move that Council notes the petition received on the 27th of August 2025 regarding the community vision adopted at the ordinary meeting of Council on the 23rd of July 2025. 2, notes that the draft Council Plan 2025 to 2029 includes guiding principles for inclusive engagement and continuous improvement of that engagement. And 3, requests the CEO write to the author of the petition regarding the outcome of the petition. Do I have a seconder for that motion?
Yep.
Thank you, Councillor Gregow. Does anybody wish to speak against the motion? Councillor Tolhurst.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Greg, for your address. I think that was actually a very meaningful exercise to have a face-to-face discussion or address between councillors and the community and a representative of the petition. But I, in essence, reject or speak against the motion as presented because I'm not satisfied that the recommendation addresses the requests of the petition, and most significantly, as has been raised already tonight, the request for full and accurate reporting of all the outcomes of all community consultation and deliberative engagement. However, I'm really pleased to hear in the response to questions that another conversation will occur and a more fulsome data release and potentially even a comprehensive review of processes more generally that support our community engagement, and I certainly look forward to those discussions. But again, as it's been noted, there's nothing been presented back to the public about the results of the themes of those who gave feedback through drop-in sessions or written submissions. Additionally, the inclusion of input received before the formal engagement commenced stands unqualified as to what content or feedback was received and how it was weighted in overall decision making. And for me, this is still just inconsistent with our community engagement policy, which states that engagement and consultation activities should provide information on what kind of data is being collected and how it will be used by council to inform decision making. I am pleased, though, I do really like part of the recommendation which makes a commitment to inclusive engagement and continuous improvement. I absolutely support these as guiding principles to our work in the draft council plan, and in fact all we do, but I don't think that such a commitment should have been triggered by a petition. and we can do better as a group. I think we must do better, and by being explicit and proactive in how we will improve community engagement and the use of feedback in decision making. This will build back trust and make for stronger outcomes. There is an opportunity here. I'm an optimist, but we have to be serious about seizing it. So I see the current consultations on the council plan, asset plan, financial management plan and municipal health and wellbeing plan as a really good opportunity. Like the community vision, these are required to be developed through deliberative engagement practices. The Act is not prescriptive on how deliberative engagement occurs, but the principles are really clear. This can be the beginning of embedding better practices of deliberative engagement into our work and organisation. So I support and welcome the opportunity to review processes and policies and some of the commitments or discussion had tonight with the community via public questions, making changes and reforms where necessary, and make a personal commitment to work towards improvements.
Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Councillor Grigard?
Yeah, questioning that if we accept the conditions of the petition, something that further delay in sort of going out to further community consultation, how would it actually impact the timeframe of actually delivering the council plan and the other strategic documents by the 31st of October?
Through you, Mayor, it would certainly, if we did rescind the decision to adopt the community vision, it would certainly put us outside the realm of possibility of achieving the other statutory requirements, because the community vision should be informing the council plan and other documents.
So when was actually the time frame we were supposed to have the community vision due by?
31st of October.
So we're 4 months late?
31st of October.
31st of October. But we say the time. We actually had a schedule on when it wasn't it due the end of March?
So certainly when we proposed the process to cancel last December, we proposed a process that would complete the community vision by no later than June. And in having gone through the community engagement process, and then that would help inform the work and the engagement we would do on the council plan and the other documents. So we did fall behind on the community vision, but yeah, there's no statutory requirement, but the process that we put to council was to have the community vision completed before we did the other strategic work.
But that was when? By?
So in the proposal we put to council, we were saying by no later than June.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody wish to speak against, for? That being the case, I put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? 4. Those against? 1. Thank you. Item 10, functions attended. Just before moving to the recommendation, I'm sorry, Jackie, but on the 21st of August, I also attended the St Aloysius Annual Book Week.
And also...
And I'll just finish mine first. And on the 4th of September, which I think's repeated, I was an apology at that meeting. Does anybody else have anything they need to add or subtract?
Yes, yes I do. On the 9th of September at the Coles Development Community Meeting, I also attended.
Anybody else have anything to add or subtract? Do I have a mover for the recommendation that the functions attended report be received? Thank you, Councillor Monaghan. Do I have a seconder?
Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Cameron. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 11, the Chief Executive Officer's report, which we will take as read. Does anybody have any questions regarding the CEO's report?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Pardon me, I lost my place. Just around the dog park survey, what feedback we talked to the questioners today about why Royal Park wasn't deemed satisfactory, and I just wonder what feedback from the relevant stakeholders, sports clubs, caravan park managers, visitors, neighbouring residents and DECA we've received to inform the position that it was unsuitable.
Through you, Mayor. Look, I don't, it might be a question to the other councillors. I don't think officers have come to a conclusion that it's unsuitable. We're following up an email we received from a community member today that alerted us to some rules that Bowen Coast put in place, but we don't think that they're regulatory or that they're statutory rules. So I think it would be fair to say that in previous briefings, the officers sort of brought the opinion that those for sporting ovals could be shared spaces with dogs off leash.
However, I note that in a response to an email, CEO, you did say that no one had made contact with the sporting groups.
That is true, but I think that's a different issue than the one that I was just asked about. But having said that,
I think that's part of what work you've done to decide whether or not it is or isn't suitable.
Well, as I said, the officers haven't decided, and we don't have a view on that, except for the view that we brought to you previously, which we believe it's common practice.
Are there any other questions for the CEO's report?
Yep.
That being the case, do I have a mover for the recommendation? Are you going to move it before I've said it? No. Okay. The Council receives the Chief Executive Officer report for September 2025. Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Does anyone against? All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to item 12, Heritage Planning and Infrastructure, the Planning Permit Activity Report, taken as read. I move that the Planning Permit Activity Report be received. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Monaghan. Does anybody wish to speak against it? No. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 12.2, the strategic response to Victorian housing targets. I move that Council notes the findings of the public engagement process undertaken in relation to housing targets set by the Victorian State Government under Plan for Victoria as presented, notes that to achieve the housing target of 400 new dwellings by 2051, no further strategic work or amendment to the Queenscliff planning scheme is identified at this time. 3, continues to monitor new dwelling construction rates over the target period 2025 to 2051, identified in Plan for Victoria, to ascertain the need for any additional strategic investigations into providing additional housing outcomes. Do I have a seconder for that motion?
Thank you.
Councillor Griggar. Does anybody wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you.
Councillor Griggar.
I think the overdevelopment within our borough is a great concern for our residents, not only commercial but residential. It's a big issue that we are subdividing blocks, we're putting granny flats in with very little planning control. I think what's the concern is a community that there's new plans that we're not getting community reporting to the things that are happening. What are we going to provide? Saying yes, we are going to continue regarding monitoring, but how are we going to relay that in a timely fashion to the residents of the borough?
Council can certainly ask us to provide quarterly reports or other type of reporting through the council agenda on particular issues around planning if council chooses to do that. And we can certainly talk to those issues that we actually have control or manage. But as you're aware, most of the planning reforms over the last 24 months have been about facilitating development rather than, to remove some of those barriers that the state government has seen in the achievement of their housing targets. So we can certainly talk about what we can potentially do and report, and we can certainly talk about whether or not we think there's some threats. But at the moment, there's certainly nothing in the pipeline that would suggest to us within the borough that we're going to face any challenges or about providing those 400 dwellings.
But also now that we've also committed to locking down the town boundaries, the only way is up. And is there an agenda by the council or the state government for us to force higher sort of building heights in the borough?
So at the moment, the way that the planning reform interacts with the Bellarine Peninsula Plan Policy Statement of Planning Policy means that overall, if the Bellarine Peninsula Statement of Planning Policy is implemented as it has been gazetted by the Minister, that the controls won't change. So the controls around character and heights will still remain very modest, and there'll be very few adjustments to our existing design and development overlays or other planning controls within the borough. So as long as that holds true, and we've got no reason to think that it won't, the borough won't be necessarily be forced to go up, and it's not really, and I think it'd be fair to say, it's not really economically viable for people to develop multi-storey buildings in the borough. There's just not the ground space or the demand for that type of living in the borough, but that's just an opinion at the moment.
Thank you.
Does anybody else?
Just
Councillor Tolhurst?
Question, Mayor. Clarification. You read the motion as the recommendation is presented? Great. Pardon me, I just didn't catch it. Thank you.
Does anybody... Councillor Monaghan?
Can I just ask when the actual 400 target of 400, does it start from the start of this year?
So it's council can, yes, from it's probably 2024, I think, when it was first put to council, but started this year, the 2051, yeah. So look, I think I can understand the community's concern, but in the scheme of things, Geelong are required to find and cater for an additional 145,000 homes. So the 400
dwellings or homes, dwellings,
dwellings,
yeah. Okay.
So our target is quite modest, and as you know, we did a fair bit of advocacy work to get it halved from the original amount. And as this report suggests, if we keep doing things the way we've been doing them over the last couple of years, we'll probably meet that target. And not discounting Councillor Gregoire's point that there are people concerned about subdivisions, but they'll only be what's allowed within the scheme at the moment in terms of 2-lot subdivisions.
Thank you. Are there any further... Councillor Cameron, are you?
Oh, no.
No, sorry.
Just thinking maybe apartments. Do they count for
Yes,
something?
dwellings. All right. I've forgotten now. Did I have a seconder for that motion?
Yes.
Councillor Gregoire. All those in favour of the motion? Thank you. Passed unanimously. Moving to item 12.3, the approval of Amendment C41 to the Queenscliff Planning Scheme. I move the Council notes the approval of Amendment C41 to the Queenscliff Planning Scheme. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. I don't wish to speak. Do you, Councillor Tolhurst?
Just a question, Mayor, and that is to the CEO or the planner as to whether the process, given Council has engaged or resolved to advocate to Geelong to commence a rezoning process for the Bellarine Highway Coles site, whether that is the same process that would occur as we've just undertaken here.
Yeah, through you, Mayor, it'd be a very similar process when a ministerial amendment generally runs along the same lines. There'll be some limited form of consultation with the affected local government area, but generally not any broader than that. It only becomes a ministerial amendment if it passes certain criteria that's incorporated into the Act. Yep.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to speak against? Or does anyone want to speak against? All those in favour of the motion, thank you. Passed unanimously. 12.4, the Road Management Plan. I move that Council adopts the Road Management Plan as presented. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Cameron. I don't wish to speak. Do you, Councillor Cameron? Is there anybody against the motion? All those in favour? Thank you. Passed unanimously. Item 13.1, the 2024-2025 Quarterly Financial Report. The recommendation is that Council notes the Quarterly Finance Report to the 30th of June 2025. Do I have a mover for that motion? Thank you, Councillor Monaghan. Do I have a seconder? Yep. Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Do either of you wish to speak? All those in favour? Thank you. Unanimous?
Yep.
13.2, the draft annual financial report and draft performance statement 2024-2025. The recommendation is that Council, in accordance with Section 99(2) of the Local Government Act 2020, approves in principle the draft annual financial statements and the draft performance statement for the 2024-2025 annual report and authorises the Principal Accounting Officer to forward them to the Victorian Auditor General's Office for issuing of the final independent auditor's reports on these statements. 2, pursuant to Section 99(3) of the Local Government Act 2020, authorises the Mayor, Councillor Di Rule and Councillor Isabel Tolhurst and the Chief Executive Officer to certify the final financial statements and performance statement in accordance with Regulation 13 of the Local Government Planning and Reporting Regulations 2020 in their final form after any changes recommended or agreed to by the Auditor General's Office have been made. And 3, endorses the governance and management checklist. Do I have a mover for that recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Do I have a seconder?
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Griggar. You wish to speak, Councillor Tolhurst?
Thank you. As is often or increasingly the case, Gihan and team and all officers, thank you very much for the enormous amount of work, and councillors. It's our work as well. And I think this is a good news story in both the draft annual financial report and performance statement, where recurring expenses were kept modest. We've got healthy reserves. Council remains debt-free. Processing time in planning applications has reduced. Waste diversion has increased. Explanations for significant fluctuations are clearly articulated, and the communication around the story that sits behind these documents is exemplary and very easy to comprehend for us and the community, and successful meeting of all qualitative measures included in the government and management checklist. So just an acknowledgement of the hard work that's gone into this, and the sort of good news story and tick of approval it is, and looking forward to what comes next as a result of these great results as a base. So thank you, Gihan team and colleagues.
Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Councillor Griggar, do you wish to speak?
Yes, thank you. I'm quite happy. Thank you, Gihan and the finance team for the reporting. It's great, but constantly, annually, we take the rate cap increase, and I think we have to work a lot harder to actually sort of suppress, to help out the ratepayers, and sort of reduce the costs. So we're actually not forced to go and constantly just accept the rate cap. I think we still have a lot more work to do regarding that, but it's not a reflection on the finance team, but we really need to focus on that with the cost of living pressures ever increasing. I do not see that coming down.
Thank you, Councillor Gregar. Does anybody wish to speak against the motion? All those in favour? Thank you. Passed unanimously. 13.3, the Audit and Risk Committee Charter Review. The recommendation is that Council adopts the revised Audit and Risk Committee Charter as presented. Do I have a mover for that motion? Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Monahan. Do either of you wish to speak?
No, thank you.
Anyone against? All those in favour? Thank you. Passed unanimously. Item 14, questions without notice. There are no questions without notice outstanding. Does anybody have a question without notice this evening? Thank you, Councillor Cameron.
The question, please, Mr CEO. At the special meeting of Council held on the 15th of September 25, Council resolved to write to the City of Greater Geelong, thanking the Mayor for writing to the Minister for Planning and reiterating Council's concerns about the potential impacts the development of the site for a supermarket would have on the local environment surrounding waterways and local businesses. Has that been sent?
Through you, Mayor, yes, it has.
Excellent, thank you.
And acknowledgement that it's been received.
Thank you. Excellent.
And does anybody else have a question without notice? There being no more, we'll move on. The list of council meetings as outlined. Item 15.2 is noteworthy. There's a proposed change of date for the October ordinary meeting of council. And I move that Council holds the next ordinary meeting of Council on Wednesday, the 29th of October 2025 at 6:30 p.m. at the Ring or the Queenscliff Hub, and gives public notice of the change of date for the October 2025 ordinary meeting of Council by publishing the details on the Council website. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Thank you, Councillor Monahan. Do you wish to speak? Does anyone wish to speak against it? All those in favour? Thank you. Sorry?
I'll just remind everybody daylight savings starts. So, so yeah,
Then?
knocked up. Yeah, so we'll the time.
Daylight savings starts.
Yes.
Unanimous. Thank you. There is no more business, so I close the meeting at 19:32. Thank you, everybody.